work. Uh, Hello and welcome to this episode of social media uh, and promotional stuff that we do on digital marketing space. And I have a very honored guest over here in Viveka von Rosen. She is a LinkedIn expert. She is a LinkedIn learning author. She's a speaker, and she has also been on the Forbes Top 20 Most Influential People. Viveka is the Chief Visionary Officer of Vengresso, company dedicated to personal branding, digital marketing, B2B selling strategies. I'm so honored to have you, Viveka, with us tonight. Thank you so much for being here. And
Oh
I'm
my
super,
goodness, my
super
pleasure.
excited about this.
My pleasure. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, it's your introduction is really very prolific, and just try to condense it into a few lines. But my first and most interesting question to you is, how did you get to become a LinkedIn expert? I know you must have been asked this question so many times, but please, answer it one more time for us quickly.
Sure, of course. Well, the short answer is I got the Twitter handle. I started teaching and training on LinkedIn back in 2006. And at that time, that was a little bit before Twitter, and Facebook was just kind of becoming a thing too. And so I remember I was sitting in a class with a friend of mine learning about Twitter and what this Twitter thing was. And the first thing, of course, that you go in and do is get your handle, your Twitter handle
Yeah.
when you sign up. And so I'm like, and I was sitting next to my business partner at the time, who also taught and trained on LinkedIn. I kind of looked over at him, and he had written his own name in there. And I'm like, I'm going to see if, well, first of all, my name was too long, so I didn't get my name. So then I'm like, well, I'm going to try LinkedIn Expert, and it was available. And so what I tell people is, I got the Twitter handle, and now I have to prove it's true for the next 16 years. So but I was very fortunate. I started out on LinkedIn before any other social network. I loved it as a business tool, so I never really thought of it as a social networking tool until later. And I was fortunate enough to be able to speak and train on it locally. And then a big association, a big international association that we were a member of, heard about me and said, hey, do you want to come speak in New York to our audience? I was like, yeah, okay. So my first official big speaking gig was at the Waldorf Astoria Ballroom. So that was kind of exciting. And then, just as things go, I was writing a blog that at the time you could pull your blog into LinkedIn, and Wiley saw it, the publishing house. And so they reached out to me and said, do you want to write a book on LinkedIn? I was like, okay. So, a lot of it was a combination of opportunity, timing, and just saying yes.
Yes, that's really wonderful because everything just coming together is a beautiful thing. And
Yeah.
today and today LinkedIn is like the absolute go-to platform for anybody who wishes to have a professional face to the world.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, Twitter and Instagram and Facebook are a lot more fun, but if you're going on LinkedIn that you are looking at a business presence, and whether you're a business to business, education company, business to consumer company, government official, that when you're on LinkedIn, it is a business focused network. And so you're just not going to get lost in the political and the religious and the math quizzes and all of that stuff that goes on the other social networking sites.
Yes, it's more professionally driven. You are only there for business, or
Exactly.
whatever. If you are seeking a job or whatever, but it means business. LinkedIn means business.
It
Absolutely.
does.
And Viveka, the only social media platform on which I have actually built a presence up
Yes.
until now is LinkedIn, up to a little extent, not to a large extent, because I don't know what I was doing for the last so many years. I was so deeply engrossed in business coaching and consulting, and I kind of did not look into developing a good social media profile.
Yeah.
And I don't know, now everybody is kind of jumping at it and
Yes.
doing the best, whatever best they that they can put out. And one reason why I started these live shows is this, that I wanted, of course, higher visibility. Everybody wants that,
Yeah.
but doing something which creates better content, which creates better value. And I wouldn't say the last 10 years of my life have been wasted, because whatever knowledge I have gained, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to put it out this way. So I'm again very thankful that you agreed the moment I asked you to. Initially, I was very, very hesitant like that.
But
But
isn't that the great thing about LinkedIn is you really can reach out, and
yes,
through it, your invitation. The one thing I found about Facebook, like, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'll go into Facebook, and then once in a while, I'll get a message from Facebook that I have invitations waiting. And, I went in there and I had invitations from people, not only to connect on Facebook, but actually for work. But they were hidden because I didn't know the people, or there wasn't enough of a connection. And so what a lost opportunity for me on
yeah,
Facebook, that I missed out on those work opportunities. And there was a lot of scam and spam too, don't get me wrong. But on
yes,
LinkedIn, not only will it show up, but if you customize the invitation the right way, like you did, asking me to be on your show, then of course I'm going to accept it and say yes. So I think there's a higher acceptance rate on LinkedIn, provided you provide value in your invitation to connect. You never want to use your invitation to connect as a sales pitch. Like, you didn't
mm,
say, "Hey, Viveka, how are you? You should totally buy my course." It was, you were providing value to me. And that's what you need to do when you're reaching out to people on LinkedIn, is always provide value. So you're a perfect example of what to do right.
oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I've only been working on LinkedIn, because what you said about Facebook is very right. So many times I go back there like 2 months later and I find a message. Oh my God, somebody tried reaching me, and like it went so down, because and I must have felt so tired after scrolling for a few minutes, that I just didn't scroll enough and
Gave up.
read.
Yeah.
It's gone, and that happens on Facebook, because there is so much of clutter, so much of
Yeah.
noise there.
Yeah, so much chatter and noise.
Hmm.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And that's the problem is, yes, I can set up my notifications to get notified when I get an invitation on Instagram or on LinkedIn or on Facebook or on Twitter, but it's so noisy. So I don't want to set up those notifications, so they just get lost. And I know that happens a lot of times on LinkedIn too, that people just, they don't go into LinkedIn very often, so they don't check their invitations, but at least the invitations to connect are not hidden, and at least it's super easy to customize the invitation.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
and that's really wonderful, And the first thing you do is to just check somebody's profile, and the
exactly.
headline is something which just glares at you as to what the person does. So, Viveka, it's really
Yeah,
wonderful that we are doing this show tonight, where you are going to teach us live as to how to create a killer headline and crushing profile on LinkedIn. And I'm really not sorry about this killer and crushing kind of words over there, because actually, with cutting through all that noise
yeah,
is very important. And there are so many people on LinkedIn as well. So if you
yes.
don't have something which really pops out to somebody, then it might just get lost. So the first and the foremost thing is to have a great headline and a wonderful profile. I could have said this also, but more interestingly, it sounded this way better.
No,
So,
no, no, that's exactly right. And if you want to show the screen, let's show people what we're talking about.
all right, fine. And I'm feeling as if I'm going into an operation theater, but it's okay.
No, fortunately, you have a most excellent profile. So what Nina was talking about is this section right underneath her name. And most people just have title at company there, which, like, if I had just my title, which is CVO, and my company, which is Vengresso, you'd never know what that was. You'd never know what we did. You'd never know what we offered, because first of all, what in the world is a CVO, a Chief Visibility Officer, as Nina told us earlier. And Vengresso is our company, which is digital sales transformation. So you have to let people know who you help and how you help them. So that's exactly what Nina has done here. She's an online presence designer. She helps you design your online presence, and she works with who? Trainers, coaches, and educators. How does she help? She's an entrepreneurship enabler. She's a growth hacker. And right now, at least, and probably in the future too, she's a working from home pro. So she has used the headline section. It's 120 characters if you're doing it on your computer, on your browser. If you have an iPhone, you can actually expand that out to 220 characters. So again, what you want to focus on is not your title and your name. You know, people, or title and your company, people will see that when they go down into your profile. What you want to do is focus on who you help and how you help them. Because the fact is, people don't really care about you yet, right? They don't know who you are. They don't care about you yet. They just want to know how you help them.
Right, right, right. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and I read that article of yours where you are talking about how to expand this headline character space to
Yeah,
a larger number. That was very,
exactly. Well, it definitely helps because otherwise, you know, otherwise it's the usual, right? And it just doesn't take up much space. But you can see on the right-hand side where people who are using more of the space, it just shows up better. And so, yeah. And the other thing that you've done, which again, you can do easily on your iPhone, if you have an iPhone, is add these emojis in. So I love that you've added these emojis, which also, of course, reflect your background image. So we should probably talk about that too. But it's just excellent branding all the way around.
oh, thank you. Thank you so much. At least the first step I've cleared, that means.
So I recommend.
Just
go
want
ahead.
to add, sorry, just want to add here, Viveka. I don't have an iPhone. I have done this on my simple Android phone, and
Oh,
you can add the emojis on Android also. That's not an issue. I just love
oh,
emojis.
that's good to know because someone with an Android told me you couldn't do it on an Android. So I'm very glad to hear that you can. That's good to know.
I've done it, so it can be possible. Like, I'm not a techie, but when I can do it, you know, then I feel everybody can do it. It's just that simple.
And I think the easiest way to do it, if you're going to do it on your phone, is like just email yourself. You know, that way you can do it first in your email. You can pull in, you can see what it's going to look like. You've got the character count. And then right from your email, you can just copy and paste it into your LinkedIn app.
Yes, that's exactly how many people do it. I sometimes use Google Documents also,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just type it over there and just do a copy paste job. Then it's easier either ways.
Exactly.
So
Whatever you can access on your phone. I
yes,
use Notes. So exactly. If you use Google Notes or regular notes or whatever's easier for you, but that's kind of the easy way of doing that.
yeah,
And I mentioned the background image. That's really important too, because a lot of people just have the blue background image and that doesn't stand out enough. You want people to stop, you know, and visually, this is what's going to, even though it says keep moving forward, it actually, it gets them to stop. And I like the colors because they're bright. And you just, yeah, it's just an attractive background image. I also like that it's kind of like the two images of Nina, so you get that visual, so you get a better sense of who she is. You've got your, you know, your kind of your call to action and your logo up here, and you have to create the background image ahead of time. But it's easy enough to do. You can use a tool called Canva if you
yes,
want to, right? So Canva is a great, oops, I'll get there eventually if I can type and talk at the same time. So Canva is a good tool that you can use. It's free to freemium, just kind of depending on what you're looking for. So it's having a hard time pulling up. There we go. But you can definitely use Canva to create your background image if you want. Sometimes they already have background images that you could just choose, which is kind of cool. And the other thing that you might want to do, if you are graphically inclined, we've actually just got the background image template at vengressobanner.com,
Oh,
or
cool.
it's actually just a slide share. I'll pop that into chat, and then we can pop it into whatever chats are going on right now. But yeah, this will, if you go through here, it will show you the right dimensions. Eventually we'll get there. It'll show you the right dimensions for your background image, both for your personal background image and also for your company page, if you've got a company page on LinkedIn. So that's just another, go ahead, sorry.
I'm saying it's just fantastic. It's just lovely
Oh.
to see this tool. And
Thank you.
Can you post a comment over there? Is it a possibility for you to do? Otherwise, people can contact us later, and we can give them all the resources in one go.
Exactly. Well, I popped it into the chat. I don't have access to the chat like you do, but I put it in the private chat. So yeah, we can absolutely put it into whatever live streams are going on right now, or just reach out to us and we'll send you the link to that later.
Yes, you can connect with us, and we can send it out. Yes.
Exactly. The easy one is vengressobanner.com. Same thing.
Yes, I've been able to share it. So I've just shared it. And I'll pull it up on the screen also.
Excellent.
Yes.
And then the other thing, and so you've got the background image, you've got the headline, and you can see this is what's above the fold. When you go to LinkedIn, this is what people are going to see. So this is the most important thing, including a good close-up that looks like you. Like if you look at this picture and then you look at Nina right now, she looks like that. This isn't, some glorified glamour shot from the 1980s, which some people will do. You need to look like you. When we finally can meet again face to face, you need to look like you for that, but also because we are doing so much video right now. And so you want to look like you do in your video. So that's very important. And again, some people they're like, well, I want to put the best version of me up. And I understand that, but it still needs to look like you. So that's another excellent thing that you've done here. And then the other section that I would talk about is the about section. And so this is where you basically take what you have here and you just expand upon it. You've got 2,000 characters to tell people, again, who you help, how you help them, really what's different about you, why people should be working with you instead of your competitor. And so all of this, it speaks to, again, who she helps, how Nina has helped these individuals, what makes her different from everybody else out there, and what she's able to do, her experience that she has. So you can see, each section is a little bit more why I should work with Nina, why I should work with Nina, why I should work with Nina. And that's, again, what you want to do. You really want to focus on your buyer or your prospect or the person you want to hire you if you're looking for a job, or whoever your prospect is. If you're not selling stuff, then it might be a potential employer, or it might be a donor for a nonprofit. But you always want to speak to them, why you can help them, and maybe kind of why you're better at it than maybe somebody else out there. And you don't have to say like, I'm better at it than everybody else out there, but just the proof, the social proof of what you've written here, basically says, I've got a ton of experience. I know what I'm doing, and you should work with me, without actually saying that.
I like that. It's like your resume to the world, and you just I think everybody has got the liberty to brag on their resume. I mean, as long as you don't cross the limits and
Exactly.
start lying about anything, it's it's like you can just go out and say, tell about yourself. It's
Well,
self-publishable.
yes, and we always say it shouldn't be a resume, it should be a resource. So while you will be talking about yourself and your expertise, you always want to focus on your buyer. You want your profile to be buyer centric and a resource to your audience. So while you are talking about yourself, it's in the framework of, you need to know this because it helps me help you more effectively and more efficiently. So you always want to focus, right? Here's who I help. You always want to focus first on your buyer and how you help them more than who you are. You can brag a little bit later, or better yet, you can show content, which you've done here. So if you can prove what you've said here by resources that you upload in the featured section, which can be a link to a blog site, it can be an article that you've written on LinkedIn, it can be a PDF that you upload, it can be a very small PowerPoint that you upload. It can even be an article that you've shared, a post that you've shared on LinkedIn. You can do any of those things now, and you want to add them to this featured section. And again, it's so people can understand how you can help them, what makes you different from everybody else out there, and how you can help them. And that's the power of the resource sections, both in the featured, which is right here, and also your experience. You can add some media to your experience section as well. So all of those things are going to make a big difference in how you are perceived on LinkedIn. And, to Nina's point, know the culture of your audience. Obviously, in the US, we're a little bit more braggadocious. We're more comfortable talking about how awesome we are. And, in India, and in the Middle East, and in, some European countries, you have to be a little bit more conservative with your sharing of your expertise, but you still need to find a way to share it. So if you don't want to talk about it, then just show it, right? Show it in the media that you share.
Right. This media approach is really very good. I feel whatever work can speak, one cannot speak about themselves at any point in time. So your work
Yeah.
speaks louder than whatever you can talk about yourself. So projecting your work, and I love this featured section. Absolutely, it's just amazing. I mean, just with one click, you can just put whatever your best work is.
Exactly. And just to show people, some different examples. So I love that you've pulled these lives in. People you're a teacher, you're an educator, and there's no better proof than the lives, that you've pulled into your media section here. But not everyone, is as comfortable with the camera as you are, and not everybody has a live show. But you can really add just about anything. So if you look at my featured section, I have a blog post here. I have just an article that I wrote for LinkedIn here. This is just an article on LinkedIn that I featured. I've got a PDF right here. So this is basically it's a PowerPoint presentation that I turned into a PDF and I uploaded. Here is another article from our website. So here is where I was featured in Fast Company. So there's, I'm pulling information from all over the place. And what you can see here is the different types of content that you can add: posts, articles, links to web content, and any media. So think a little bit outside the box, and basically always in the framework of, how can this be a resource for my audience? What can I share with them that not only proves my expertise, but also that can help them? And that's really key.
Yes. Viveka, right now I'm in a transition state. I just started this live show last month,
Yeah.
and I am proceeding with it with certain clear objectives in mind. And the greatest objective is that by the end of the present bizarre situations that the world is going through right now, I should emerge as a bigger, better, upgraded version of myself. So,
Yes.
so right now, I didn't want to go into pulling some past accolades or whatever, So I'm just putting whatever I'm doing right now on the
Yep.
featured section. Do you think this is a good approach, or I mean, should one just give a fair idea about what they have done in the past in the featured section?
Yeah, I think the featured should feature exactly what you said, should feature who you are today, what you're doing today, especially if it helps those who are going through, issues with COVID-19 and with isolation and remote working or working from home. So if you solve any of those issues, I mean, for you, this is this is actually perfect because people are home and they're needing to rebrand, they're needing to educate themselves, and so what you offer is perfect, especially for trainers and coaches who are used to going out and speaking to an audience.
Yeah,
Same thing, I'm a trainer and a coach as well, and
yeah,
so we're learning, we have to figure out how to do that using Zoom or StreamYard or any of the other, visual training tools. So I think this is perfect. And you can always put, past experience, even if the past was just a month ago, you can always put any media that's important here in the experience section. So you can always add magazine articles that you might have been mentioned in, or blog posts that you wrote, or whatever it is, you can always add it into your experience section. Like you can see here, you and Bob Proctor, right? So you might not be doing this right now. Well, you are, but even if you weren't, that goes a long way. And not only that, the fact that you're with Bob, it aligns your expertise, and so that things that you can do to show, other well-known companies or well-known individuals that you've engaged with and worked with, that also makes for good media. So yeah, add the older stuff pre-COVID-19 into the experience section, and add the content that's relevant right now today, because the cool thing is you can always just, let me go back to the page I was on, you can always change it up, right? Once you're in there, you just click on the little pen right here,
Hmm.
and you can always change it up. You can delete it, right? You can move it around. You can say, well, that's not really relevant anymore, so I'm just going to go ahead and remove it. So you can always move that stuff around if it's, if it's not relevant anymore.
Yes.
Move it around
See,
or-
I just added this work from home thing in my tagline, in the
Yeah.
headline, just about a few weeks back, and
Yep.
I have incidentally always been working from home, so this situation is not really new for me. It's
No.
been like forever, and but the thought of adding it in the tagline has in the headline has just come to me. So
Yeah.
many times, what happens is that in the profile, when you're writing about yourself, whether it is in the headline or on the profile summary,
Yeah.
uh, many times you just don't remember what is to be done.
Right.
So, what is the way out of that kind of writer's block? Because many people I've met, they say, I have done this and I've done that. When you meet them in person, you can actually realize that they must have done this, but their LinkedIn profile is really, I'm sorry to use the word, but it's really dull. So first preference is like that, and it's difficult to understand what to put there.
Yes, yes, of course. So I just popped another resource into the chat that maybe you can share on our other chats. But we actually have an ebook that will
Mhm.
walk you through. And
Okay.
just so you all know, this was, so my second book was called LinkedIn 101 Ways to Rock Your Personal Brand. And when we created Vengresso, we're like, okay, we need a really good ebook for profiles. So I basically gave my book to one of our content writers and said, take this and turn it into an ebook. So don't buy my book, LinkedIn Marketing or LinkedIn 101 Ways to Rock Your Personal Brand. You can just basically download this guide, and don't be turned off. It's not just for sales professionals. It's for sales professionals. It's for business owners. It's for job seekers. And it will walk you through each and every step each and every step on your profile to make it better.
That's going to be an amazing resource. And I wish to announce to everybody on the live audience, as well as anybody who watches this replay, that should go and get this immediately. I will definitely do that. You also go ahead and do it. It's going to be an amazing resource. Viveka, would you like to take some questions from
sure, of course,
live audience? If anybody has any questions, can you just put them in the comment section, and I'll show them up on the screen. This is an amazing time to ask whatever you want to ask. Tell me what changes I can make to my profile so that it goes even better.
Yeah. So basically everything we talked about today, the background image is immediately going to create a new level of professionality. So if you are able to do so using Canva, you can, like I said, you can use it for free. Let's see what they have. Let's just try LinkedIn here and see what they have. I am absolutely graphically impaired. I couldn't create a good background image to save my life. So this is probably, not, I need to pay someone to do it for me. But
yes,
you can already see there are a lot of really good backgrounds here. And all you have to do is go in and change your name, or go in and personalize it. But you can see there's a ton of really great background images started here. So any one of these you can use, and then just put your own company name in there, your own logo in there, and it'll make a big difference. So that's number one thing that I recommend people doing. The second thing is what we talked about. Instead of saying title at company, who do you help and how do you help them? And then get a good picture of yourself. So if you just do those three things, you can work on your summary section later, and slowly build that out. And you can be finding and adding content as you look at it, but always, always, always thinking, who do I help? How can I help them? How can I make my profile a resource for them?
Right. Tell me a little bit more about how to go about accepting connections and actually going and sending out connections to people. Because I've also made my fair share of mistakes in this, and I'm still perhaps making a lot many mistakes. There's a section which just pulls up profiles automatically in front of your screen on LinkedIn, and many people have seen, and I've also done it, that you just keep sending connect request over there.
Yeah. When you go to my network.
Yes, you gather a number of people, and then when you put out a post, you hardly find anybody following you. So how does one get beyond that kind of a thing?
Exactly. So let's talk about replying to invitations you've received first of all, and then we'll talk about best ways of finding good leads, not just anyone who LinkedIn serves. There's an algorithm that, they try to look at your experience and where you've lived and who you're already connected to and serve you some leads. And some of those people might be good leads. You might be like, okay, that's actually a good lead. And then you always want to customize the invitation to connect. So you can see here, Matthew has not. And so I don't know enough about Matthew to necessarily accept his invitation. Whereas Jim has, at least talking about what he does. It's still not enough about me, but at least it's talking about what I do. Arthur's done a better job here because he said, I read your article. So he's shown that he's done his research. He knows who I am. So when I'm personally accepting an invitation, the first thing I do is go up here to the top right where it says CL 99. And I will take a look at everyone who's invited me to connect, but I will always go first to the people who've customized the invitation, right? To see, and here's a mastermind I was with in. So, I'm much more likely to accept Ramanand's invitation than, necessarily Matthew, who didn't actually customize it. So that's number one. Number two is you can send a message. If someone's invited you to connect, you can send a message to everybody who's invited you, even if you don't accept them. So even if Matthew is not a good lead for me, I'll still send him a message. And I create all my messages first, just so you guys know. This is a free tool called Text Expander. And so what you'll see in Text Expander is it's a free Chrome. It's a Google Chrome extension. So you have to use Google Chrome. But people who saw me speak at Social Media Marketing World, people who heard me on Amy Porterfield's podcast, people who, I want to introduce to my boss. I've actually got my bios in here. I've got my calendar links in here, a new LinkedIn reply. And so what I do is I just go into LinkedIn. Oops. There we go. To go back to there it is. I just go back to LinkedIn and then I just type in my smart code, which was new LinkedIn reply, and it just populates the whole thing.
Right. Fantastic. Right?
And then I'll just say, hi, Michael, and then send it. And so that allows me to very quickly go through. Now, if I want to accept the invitation, I just click on the check mark. But I'm always going to go look at the people who have customized an invitation first. And the way you do that, let me just find let's see. Well, here, I'll show you the second part. The other thing you want to do is be more thoughtful in looking for leads. So rather than just sticking with the search box up here, you want to come down to people. And then from people, you're going to have the opportunity of pulling up even more search fields over here. Any second now. You want to click on all filters. And so now you have the opportunity of inviting people or finding people who might be connected to someone right? So if I wanted to, connect with Mina's folks, I could start just typing Mina's name in here. I can look via specific location. I can look at people who currently work in a company that maybe I want to get access to, or who used to work in a company I want to get access to. I can sort by industry, language, where they went to school, of course, by their name if I know it, the title that they hold, so the company and the school again. So a huge amount of, and all of the above, a huge opportunity to get really specific in my searches, so that when I find someone that I want to connect with, and I save my better searches. So let's just take a look at that search. When I find someone that I want to connect with, excuse me, not COVID-19, just allergies.
Oh, God forbid.
I know, right? We're just waiting for this to load. So when I find someone I want to connect with, let's just say Christian was a great lead for me, or Jim, I'm not going to just hit the connect button here. I never want to hit the connect button here. I want to go to Jim's profile first. I want to look at his profile, good background image, good, smiling face, looking straight at the camera. I can see who we have in common. So I'm going to look at our mutual connections. I can see what groups we're both in. I can, of course, read his content. I can look at his activity if he's actually active on LinkedIn. So I have a lot of different things that I can mention. Oh, he went to Boulder. I live near Boulder. I have a lot of friends who went to this university. So I can go in here. I can read recommendations that other people have written. So I can go in here and very easily, and he happens to be local. So I can go in, and when I invite him to connect, I click on the connect button, but then I'm going to customize my invitation. I have 300 characters, not words, but characters. And that's what I was talking about. You always want to customize. So, hey, Jim, noticed you're in Denver and went to UC. Great school. I also noticed that you're connected with Alvin. He's so funny. How long have you known him? Thought it might be, worth. It's definitely worth my while if we're, if we're connected on LinkedIn. Wonder if it's worth your while too. Please accept my invitation, and then I send the invitation.
Exactly. That's a wonderful demonstration, I would say, because we have a lot of students today who are online right now with us, because this is being multi-streamed in several different destinations. And so this is going to be extremely valuable for them. And I personally feel, Viveka, that the connections you make, networking comes at a later stage, but they are a part of your profile also, because when people go through somebody's profile, they don't just look at the headline and summary, but they also look at your connections as to whom you are connected with, what value you can add to their business or profession at a later stage. That's why specifically I pulled this into this whole conversation, because I have made terrible mistakes, just sending pressing that connect button several times with the LinkedIn app specifically, because it just pulls out people, and then you put a post out and you don't even get 2 comments on it, and that's where the entire effort goes to waste. It takes
it really is more about more about quality than quantity. And I think that's where people make a mistake is, to your point, they go in and connect, but you got to give me a framework of why I should connect with you. So it's much better to find quality leads and then invite them to connect than it is just to go crazy with that connect button.
That's phenomenal. That's really phenomenal. Tell me one more thing. This question is just coming to my mind. Is it possible to just remove a connection without the person coming to know that you have actually removed them?
Yes. So I don't know if you noticed, but I've been on LinkedIn for a long time. So I've hit my 30,000 limit more than once, and I've had to remove people. And so, yes, you can absolutely remove people from your network. All you have to do is come here. So I'm almost at my 30,000 again. You just come here to connections. It's probably easier to do actually on your phone.
Okay.
Right? But it's not going to open. But on your phone or right here, if we could get it to go, it's just a matter of either swiping left or clicking on the 3 dots to the right-hand side and unconnecting, and they won't know. I used to have my assistant do this for me, except she just she unconnected from my husband. So he did find out, because when he went to message me, he couldn't message me because we were unconnected. But he won't get or people won't get a message from LinkedIn saying Viveka unconnected from you.
All right. Okay. That's a good thing. Good thing to know, because you don't want to be rude on LinkedIn at all to anybody. And still, if you want to remove connections, which I will definitely have to do for a few people right now, because it's like you just gather, and I have done that mistake. So it's now, if one is building the profile properly, let's do it in a better manner.
Yeah.
And, yes.
Exactly. So all you do is click the three dots, remove connection. And by the way, if like for me, when I was first starting out on LinkedIn, I got a lot of recruiters were inviting me to connect. And so, that's one of the things that I started doing was removing people with the name, sorry, Eric, sorry, Neil, but with the name recruiter in there. You can also search by additional filters too. So however, which takes you back into the regular search. But there are many different ways of finding these people that you can then delete from your network.
All right. One great thing about LinkedIn is that it has a pro membership also
Yeah.
being offered. What are the benefits of taking that? Can you just quickly tell us that also, please?
Yeah. So, if you're going to there's LinkedIn Premium, which
Hmm.
basically it shows you everyone who's viewed your profile, and it gives you access to LinkedIn Learning, which is a great resource. But honestly, I just don't think it's worth $59. However, for $79 a month, you can get Sales Navigator, which is a whole other platform that kind of rests on top of LinkedIn. And it is phenomenal because it will allow you to do things like sort your leads by who's active on LinkedIn. So you're not spending a lot of time trying to recruit someone who's not actually on LinkedIn. So that you can create different lists for your leads. So you can find someone and pull them into a list, and then that way you can keep a better eye on them. You can be alerted by people who have, leads that you have saved, people that are good prospects for you that you have saved, people who viewed your profile, who've engaged with your content, who's accepted your connection request. And then, like I said, you can create these lists, which
Hmm.
are amazing way of managing your resource. So it's a really, really powerful tool to use on LinkedIn.
Okay.
And
And
it's a whole bunch more stuff, but we just don't have time to talk about everything that Sales Nav
yes,
can do.
yes, please. No, please go ahead. We still have some time, so no problem. Just tell us a little bit more about how to go about using premium to the fullest.
Sure. So one of the benefits of premium is the ability, the search fields are better. So even though a lot of you probably didn't even know about the existing free search fields that we talked about earlier today, right? The all filters. When you
Hmm.
get into Sales Navigator, there we go. When you get into Sales Navigator and you do an advanced search over here, it opens up even more fields. So you can also search by specific geography, including region or zip code, which you can't do on free LinkedIn.
Okay.
You can sort by company size. So head count, the type of company. You can sort by tags that you've created for people or content, keywords and content they might be sharing. So there's a lot of additional tools. Not only that is you can set up a basic search called sales preferences. So every time you don't have to keep going in and refining your search and refining your search and refining your search. You
Yes.
can set up your
Okay.
basic sales preferences. It will add those. See how it's already added those, and then from there, instead of 650 million people to start with, I'm at 500,000, which is still too many. But now I can go in and sort by all of these other features. So that's really powerful. The ability to save your searches. So you can save up to 15 searches. So you don't have to, again, you don't have to keep creating them. You just make them once. And then once you've made them, you can just jump in and see who's new, who might be a new lead for you, or take a look at the whole list. So, like for here, if I wanted to see senior sales people in Colorado, I would just click on that link and it's going to show me everyone who's a new lead. In fact, LinkedIn will even email me that new lead And then, of course, I can sort by people who are active on LinkedIn. So I'll do that. So I've gone from however many it was down to 1,000. And again, now I can just go, oh, there's 14 people who follow my company. So I know that they already know who I am.
Right.
Right. And so here's Sean, who's a good prospect for me, right? He's VP of sales at alarm.com. I know already we have 6 people in common who he could introduce me to, or that it could introduce me to him. Of course, I can pop over to his profile, check him out, see what we have in common. I can message him for free. I can invite him to connect. And of course, I can save him as a lead as well.
Fantastic, fantastic. The link
A lot
is
of
really,
power.
really, very powerful, very powerful. One thing that is coming to my mind is about posting on the groups and commenting on other people's posts in
Yeah.
order to leverage some kind of visibility to your own profile. Does it
Yes.
work? Does it not work? What exactly is your take on that?
Yeah, so I don't much use groups anymore because I just find the main problem with groups is they don't always notify you when someone is engaging with your content. And
Yes.
so that's kind of a problem because you don't know, and then people think that you're ignoring them because they might have commented on something that you shared and you just ignored them, but you didn't ignore them on purpose. You just did it because LinkedIn didn't let you know. On the other hand, and I'll try to show, I was doing this the other day. I'll try to show you a really good example. You can certainly engage with people on your own content, not groups, but actual content that you share. And you can even engage with people on other content. So obviously I'm a prolific I'm a prolific creator of content, but let me see if I can find the perfect example of this from yesterday. We'll get there eventually. All right, getting there. So these are all the people. Thank you, Nina, for commenting on my content.
Oh, I
And
have
you
been
can
following
see
you.
it helps you build a relationship with someone even before you're actually connected with them. All right, if I don't find it shortly, no, don't everyone else don't worry. It's not gonna your feed is not going to look like this. I share way more than most people do. All right, I'll give it a couple more seconds here. But you can see everyone engaging on my content and similarly me engaging on their content. And that allows you to create a conversation. So then it is a natural fit to go, hey, I noticed you commented on my post, or I noticed you commented on Chris's post. I loved what you had to say. Do you want to connect on LinkedIn? I mean, it's really as simple as that. So it's absolutely worth creating content. You can see Laura and I have had a bit of a conversation going on. There it is. I finally found it. So here's my friend David who shared a post about, so it's not my post, it's David's post.
Yes.
And so he wrote a post about background image or using green screens, which is what I have right here. And so I'm actually a fan of green screens. I think that they add interest and I think that they can help with branding. And so, basically David was saying you shouldn't use a background image. People won't take you seriously. Now, he's a friend of mine, and so I did this with respect, but said, I'm going to disagree with that. And then I explained why I thought background images were important. Well, but you can see here a full-on conversation happened, very respectful, but a full-on conversation happened between me and David and other people who weighed in on. And so we literally had this big conversation going on someone else's timeline. And he actually, David jumped in and contributed. So, and he, to the point where he said, actually, I love that this turned into a true discussion with people on both sides. That's the best. And so, this is a perfect example. In fact, I'm gonna save this so I can show it later, so I don't have to go searching for it. This is a perfect example of how you can use somebody else's content to create a conversation. And then, of course, I'm trying to find someone I'm not connected to, Greg. So I could actually now reach out to Greg just by hovering over his name. Again, I don't want to hit the connect button. I want to hit his profile, go to his profile. And now, if he was a good lead of mine, I would just say, there we go, invite him to connect. And then I would just say, hey, Greg, I saw you commenting on David's post, love what you have to say. Do you want to connect? And that gives me an opportunity now to engage and connect with Greg.
Yes.
Really
Yes.
powerful.
It's powerful. I've also experienced it many times.
Yeah.
Viveka, we are having a question coming in from the live audience. I'll just show it on the screen and I'll read it
Sure.
so. It's from Mr. Anil Saran, and he says, "Can we have premium LinkedIn for about 2 to 3 months and use the tool and then come back to the free version?"
Yeah, and not only that is, and I recommend people don't get the premium account until they kind of hit the limits with free LinkedIn. Use free LinkedIn to the best of your ability, and then when LinkedIn says, no, you need a premium in order to send a message, or you need a premium in order to see everyone who's viewed your profile, or whatever, then you can upgrade. Because in most cases, LinkedIn will actually offer you premium for free for a month. But yeah, you can absolutely just get the monthly version of it. It's a little bit more expensive. I think it's $99 a month if you buy it for just the month instead of the year. The only downside of that is you will lose any leads that you saved. You won't be able to access the platform anymore. They'll take you away the platform. So you won't be able to see the leads that you saved or any of that good stuff. So yes, you can use it for a short period of time, but then you're also going to lose all of that when you jump out of it after 3 months. But hey, if you're looking for a job and you're just using it to land that job and you get that job, by all means. I think what most people find is they start using it for 2 or 3 months. They start using it for 2 or 3 months, and then they go, this is actually really working for me. It's paid for itself. I'll keep going. And then they get it for the year. Or they go, I haven't been in since I signed up for it, and I'm going to turn it off now because I'm just wasting a bunch of money. It's one or the other.
And I just scroll through the comments to see if we have something more. We have a lot of people commenting and thanking you.
Thank you.
This is one Mithul Kumar Mehta. He says, "Thanks for enlightening initiative, Leena," and I will thank you for this enlightening initiative that we have taken. So thank you, Mithul, and it's actually all because of Viveka. I'm just playing the role of an anchor over here, and then we have somebody called Sanjana. She says, "Very useful. Thanks. This gave me an excellent idea to redo my resume and make it stand out." That's wonderful. That was the final aim. That was the objective. And even if one person from the audience says this, I think we have done a fine job over here. Thank you so much, Viveka. It's been just wonderful. And we are at the top of the hour. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything. Uh, if you can give me one parting remark, that would be just wonderful, and then we'll close down.
Sure, absolutely. No, it's been my pleasure to be here. The nice thing about what I do is I get to do things like this for free. So I get to charge big corporations lots of money to train them, and that allows me to give away the ebooks and speak during these podcasts and share that content. And for me, that's the most important thing, is helping people be successful, especially during times like these. So thank you so much for the opportunity. It was my pleasure.
Thank you so much. We are so honored to have you here. And from the bottom of my heart, I'm just thanking you. And we'll continue the conversation post this also. Thank you so much. Have a
Awesome.
very good time. Enjoy. Enjoy.
Thank you so much,
Bye.
everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.